All right. So, a lot of times when you're working on a project, you come across stripped bolts and issues from days past. Something somebody else might have done, something you might have done, something that just happens because shit happens, man. You know, this is a R6 head, right? And it has cam caps. It has 6 different caps that harness the cams in place, and it's got 20 bolts, like that, right? 20 bolts. Wait, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, I'm right. Okay, 20 bolts. I forgot for a second. And if you rebuild something enough times, you're gonna have issues with the threads. Even if you torque it right, you know, it's a spring motion. The bolt acts as a spring. It expands. It, you know, it elongates a little bit and applies force. And if you're back and forth with those bolts and in and out so many times, especially with aggressive cams, this has kit cams in it and runs kit cams, and then you'll get some threads that wear out. I don't know if you can see that. And get some threads that wear out, and then all of a sudden it looks like a little spring. So you got to fix it. You can't ignore it. Don't put the bolt back in and think, well, if I just barely tighten it, maybe it'll hold. I've been there. You know, you're a technician, you're trying to get the job done, you don't want any more, you're done, you're almost done, or you thought you were almost done, and you're like, oh wait, this bolt's still turning. Well, you got to fix it. So there's a process. It's not easy. First off, I've got sometimes, you know, sometimes it's the bolt. Sometimes you have a bolt that's an issue. This one's goobered up. So this one, I think this one has some repairs already done to it, and that might be from a Timesert, Helicoil, Permacoil, whatever brand you go with. That might be from one that has a little burr on it. So I got to check all of the repairs that are actually in place, because the aluminum head wouldn't damage this bolt. That bolt is not going to be reused. I'm not even going to try and fix that or chase it. I'm just going to replace that. We have extras around here. So yeah, you got to get to the nitty gritty. So let me pull out the kits that we use. When I start looking around, oh my gosh, and I have my glasses on. My glasses are for up close, not far away. They're readers. Just have readers on, whatever that means. So there's probably 1,000 videos on how to repair threads. You know, how to put in a Timesert, Helicoil, Permacoil thread repair kit thingy. So you can probably find that. But what happens is, like this one right here, I don't even think, I mean, there's like no threads in there. Yeah, that thing's just dropping in and pulling out. There's a couple threads way deep in there. This one you can see, or I can see, I'm not sure how well this is picking it up. Inside there you can see some thread that's just come loose. Let's see what happens. Might be able to just pull that out. Nah. I'm trying to discern how many I have to repair on here, because I think I want to jig this one up onto a drill press, or I could use the cam caps as a guide, because what you don't want to have happen, you don't want your drill bit, if you're doing it just as it's sitting here, you don't want your drill bit to be off. You want it to be super straight up and down, not like that. So maybe you know what, I bet we have some sacrificial cam caps that I could use, you know, something I can use as a guide, and that might not be a bad idea. Also, you know, another thing you can do is, if you don't have that, you could get like, you know, old wrist pin or something that sets you up as guide. If it was a tight fit around there, something you can set there as kind of a guide. Or I think some drills have like a level. You don't want it to be cocked, because then you have to kind of modify the cap to make sure the bolt goes in. And I've had to do that before, and it's, you know, it winds up working out, I guess, but it's not the preferred method. But where'd that bolt go? Okay, there's 2 bolts I don't want to reuse. All the rest look okay, so. Oh, wife.
Husband.
Hi.
What are you doing?
I'm talking about thread repair and some of the processes and ideas, so.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll get back to it in a second. All right, back at it here, and so what I've done is I've put all of our cam caps in place. I've got all of the bolts in, and I'm gonna go ahead and, while it's all apart, I got valves out, I've got the valve guide seals, and everything's out. This head is a bare head, and since it's bare, it's probably the best time to do repairs, because you're going to get lots of aluminum bits, you know, going everywhere. You can do it in a cleanly way, utilizing grease and stuff like that. So if you have to do this with everything in place, it's a totally different procedure. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my torque values, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and torque each one. We're good there. That one's good. Good there. All right. Oh, we're sitting pretty. Uh-oh. Well, okay, so that's a spinner. All right. Okay, so let me mark that one. I'm gonna stick this hole. There. So that's one. Uh-oh, uh-oh. And there she goes. That one's no good. Let's mark that. Look at that, another one. So, you know, when they're bottomed out like this, and they just keep spinning, well, you can't walk away from it. You got to fix it. You got to do something. Let's mark that one. And, right. Another one right there. Alright, let's see. We got another one right here. So here, this one's like close. You know, it's like almost there, but there she goes. Oh, you know, it probably went to like maybe 7 Newton meters, you know, so close, but close doesn't cut it. This things spin 17,000 RPM. So gotta make sure everything's dialed in. One more. No, that one's just done. That one didn't go. That didn't even hit 0.01 Newton meters. That one's super done. So this cap right here has 3. 1, 2, and 3. You know, and So I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, and is it seriously all of them on the intake? Let's double check everything here. Boom, boom. Oh, intake side. Oh, I didn't do these ones yet. Nope, that one's not holding either. Okay. This one too. All right. Okay, and now we got this one cam cap left. That one's good. That one's good. Okay, so I went ahead and marked everything with yellow that needs to be repaired. I'm marking it on the spot that's actually going to have to be repaired because the caps are going to be off when I take it over to the drill press. And I'm going to use the drill press this time because I'll have maybe I can set up the jig to go to the depth that I want to go and no more. Yeah, there we go. You can see that just yoop, done. Warm out. I like this new impact I got from Mac. It has kind of like the detent, not detent, the limiter that you would hear and see on a drill, but it is an impact. And for me on these engines, I want to assemble things to less than 10 Newton meters and then torque it to the value, and this impact does it. And without fail, it's within a quarter turn of where I need it to be, right? So I can sit here all day long and it's not going to over torque that thing. I love it. I don't know what model number it is. This one is the MCF601. So if you're doing like small engine repairs or something like that, man, it's like super nice to have. It doesn't go over 10 Newton meters. I think even in its highest setting, I have it set to, I guess 14 is where it was at a maximum of 15, and then one beyond 15 is what they say is max. I don't know what max is, but I set it to 14, and that's well below 10 Newton meters. But like I said, it's still within a quarter turn. Plus, it's got this nice feature, like it doesn't have enough gumption to, in reverse, take it. Oh, it did on that one. But sometimes if it's too tight, you can actually just use it like a wrench or ratchet or whatever and loosen it up, so you don't have to use the tool to impact it free. Okay, so I'm going to remove all the caps that I don't have to do any repairs. Well, I'll just remove them all, really. Alright, so that one's going to bring out all the fun there. Yeah. Gosh. So, you know, some cylinder heads you might just say, well, I'm just going to find another one. I'm just going to replace it. Like, I'm not going to go through all this trouble. I'll tell you what, this one's got quite the price tag on it. The cylinder head has a port job and epoxy job that, you know, usually winds up costing about $4 grand to get one of these. So even though it's an R6 and it's, you know, it is what it is, this is a a good one. Make some ponies. This one flows. So we don't want to just throw it in the gutter and go buy a nutter. We want to get this thing fixed. All right. So I think what I want to do is find out how deep do I want to go on each repair. Maybe make sure that my drill doesn't go any deeper than planned. Okay, so I'll go check that out. I've got all my markings on the ones I need to repair, and we'll go check things out at the drill press when I get there. Okay, so our drill press is set up really high. I brought over a stepping stool so I can potentially reach it, but what I've done is I've set up the drill press here so when I go at max, some of them have a lockout. This one doesn't have a lockout, but I can set it up to where it only goes so far because I can set my table right here at a certain height, and I think I got it right about where I want it. So I won't go so deep that I cause problems. And of course you can just be careful, or you can make a mark on your drill bit, but you don't want to take your drill bit and go too deep, cause more trouble than was there in the first place. So I'm going to go ahead and drill each one of my yellow marks down, and then we'll take it back into the room, and we'll get the tap in there. I probably won't use the tap on the drill press, but you can, and maybe I will, but it's kind of a different setup, and we'll see what's up with that. And we wouldn't use the drill turning, we'd use this by hand to set the tap, and use the force we got with this to try and apply a little pressure and turn it by hand. Maybe we'll give that a go, but I'm not sure how I feel about that right now. So we're gonna get the drilling part out of the way. Look at that. That's a pretty good view. Okay, let's turn her on. Let her rip. All right. Get her pretty close here. I have to move the camera. That's not going to pan out. We're going to have to move the camera over here. Alright, let me look at the depth on that, because I was wondering if I was able to go deep enough there. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to change my depth. I gotta go a little bit deeper. And then what I want. All right, we'll get this right. We'll get it. I wish I could just play my playlist and add that to YouTube easily without copyright infringements or something like that. I don't know the specifics on it, but I like to share the music I'm into sometimes. Unless it's Britney Spears, and then, I just keep that to myself. All right. So we're just using the drill press to make sure we're getting straight up and down. Like I said, we don't want to put these things all cattywampus. Oh, I didn't, you know what? I didn't mark this one yellow. I need to mark this one. Whoops. Almost missed one. 2, 3, 1. All right. Okay, we got all our stuff drilled. You know, this thing's got a light switch and another switch. I keep hitting the wrong switch. A little bit off there. All right, we'll take it back into the room and do some tapping. Okay, so we're back in the race shop, and what I have here is the tap that comes with the repair kit. I put it on a very extended long T-handle, and the reason I do that is the longer the tool, the more likely you'll know if it's straight. You know, you'll kind of be able to see it. I wish it didn't have the wobble section here to it, but it does. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this one here, applying a little bit of force. Get it to start cutting. Looks like it's straight. I'm gonna look at it from each angle, you know, and try and see if I got everything lined up the way I want it. You don't have many chances at getting it right, so you kind of have to, you gotta nail it, you gotta get it. Okay, so looks like I got that one to the depth I'll need it. Back it out. Looks nice and clean. Our threads are cut, and so what I'll have to wind up doing, sometimes that helps me focus. Okay, so we've got the threads cut. I don't know if it can focus in on that. I don't have the best of cameras. I just got a GoPro. It's a pretty good camera, but it's not perfect. So I'm gonna move on to each and every one here, and then I'll come back and I'll show how we install it after I do that. All right, so we're back. I went ahead and I used our tap to tap each and every hole that we had issues with, the ones I marked with yellow. And you can kind of see that a nice, clean, fresh, new threads, right? And some of these are countersunk. You know, this one has a dowel pin that goes in, and so there's a couple different devices you can use. The Time Cert type thread repair kit isn't a viable option for this one unless you countersink in that hole, which I don't think it would work. So generally you would use only a helicoil or a permacoil, one that looks like this, as opposed to the Time Cert product, which I bet there's all kinds of videos on which one's better and this and that. These are great for certain applications, and I love using them. The tool comes with a reamer for the head, because this head on here has it's a slightly bigger diameter than the thread, so it goes in and it seats up against the head, or the beginning portion, I don't know, the part that's going to be sticking out of the material. And then on the inner portion here, it's tapered, so as you pass through this tool, it goes to the end and expands it out up against the wall of where the thread is. So Time Cert on this type of application, it would not fit easily in here or be easy to apply, I think because of this reamer. So our reamer here it wouldn't fit into that hole, so we couldn't use this to get the beginning portion kind of set. I guess you could use a drill bit and just go in there and kind of countersink it a little bit and then install it. But I think it's always a safer bet to use the permacoil or helicoil type on this. I am sponsored by nobody except for BPR Race Engines. I'm here at work today doing this, and I would like to say that our race shop and our race facilities are wonderful. We build engines left and right, and we kind of keep these guys running. We have our own race team, and they are always pushing the envelope to create better and get better practices for longevity, and certainly better practices for more power. So that's my sponsor for today, is Kern County Powersports, home of BPR Race Engines and the new home of Artillery Powersports, which was my shop here for 18 years in Bakersfield, and I joined forces with my buddy locally here, Bryce Cornball. He was a friend for years and years and years, and had an opportunity to get this dealership, and I'm so happy him and the other people that were got involved and got this dealership, and it is a great thing. So I've inserted, while I've been gabbing, I inserted our coil type repair into one of the holes, and it's in, and that looks great. I think it went in super smooth, but there's a little portion, and you can see on this one, that little portion right there, it needs to get knocked off. They probably have a couple tools for it. I like to use this little tool. So I'm gonna sink it in there, just give it a little bop. And that right there broke it off. Now, you can't just leave it in there. I gotta get a, I think I have it over here. Gotta get a little Q-tip with some grease and go fishing, because I like fishing. I ain't good at it. I like fishing. Well, let me see what happens when I put a bolt in there. Yeah, that's what I want to feel. Feels great. Goes in, bottoms out. Quite strange that I didn't get the piece out of there though. I'm going to be doing some thorough cleaning on this thing later, and maybe I'll come across it then. I didn't have any luck here. I don't think it flopped out when I punched it to break it off the end. Okay, I'm not gonna lose my mind over this. This hole here, we didn't get the little piece out of, but we're gonna be okay. We'll make it through this. So, you get your, I want to see the screen here. You get your piece. You're gonna set it in the hole like that, with that little crazy contraption on the end. It goes into your repair portion like this. There's a little slot. One-handed YouTubing. Doing videos with one hand, trying to do your work with one hand and holding your camera with the other. Kind of crazy. Alright. So we just kind of twist this thing in. It just glides in like butter most of the time. And if it's not doing that, stop. You may have to sacrifice your thread repair piece. But you know what? You don't want to mess around. If it's not going in smooth at first, stop. Pull it out. If it can back out, cool. If not, just you can pull it out almost like how these pull out and start over with a new one. Make sure you buy plenty of them so you have plenty to go around. That way you're not fretting that you'll run out of them. Okay, I'm gonna bop this piece here. There we go. And I see, oh wait. I don't know how well that one went. I've got questions. This is about the point where people turn the camera off and they're like, oh man, because what happened is that end piece didn't break off the way it was supposed to. There we go. Now it broke off. So we'll have to make sure, if it doesn't break off clean and it kind of screws with the very end of the the thread, you have to note it and you have to be aware. So what we're going to have to do is make sure that that accepts the bolt completely till death does it part. Dude, is this thing not gonna come out either? Man. That's nuts, dude. That's 2 in a row. Brutal. What unit that is. Sounds pretty good. I'm gonna keep going fishing here. I'm just not having luck. That's 2 in a row where I wasn't able to pull out the portion that we put in there. I'm sorry, the portion that we knock off when we go in. So let's see. I don't like the way that feels either. Alright, like I said, sometimes you have to sacrifice your piece. Okay, so there's the piece I wanted to get out the whole time. Let's see if that's what the holdup was, or maybe if it was something else. Yeah, there's still something going on in there. Okay. A bunch of grease on here. See if it helps at all. See, it's getting bound up right there at the end of it, and it has to do with when I went to knock that piece off at the end. And I just created an issue, and I kind of created more of an issue when I put my cap in there. driving me crazy here. Big old greasy hand. You're feeling nothing. Just spinning the tap, or the thread, spinning the thread around in there. It's not really what I want. Okay. There's my light. Yeah, okay, there's the problem. There we go. All right. Pretty sure I just broke my pick in there. Doesn't really matter because I gotta keep going. So I'm at the point where I'm gonna dig this out, so I'll stop filming for a little bit and I'll show the aftermath, no matter how horrible it might be. But it's a good spot to learn, you know. You want to make sure the bolt can go through and pass through, and what happened is when I hit it trying to break off the end, it moved the last bit of thread, so the bolt couldn't pass through it any further than the end of the thread repair portion that we put in. And so that's something that can happen, and when it happens you have to remove this, re-tap it, and then put in a new one. So that's what we're gonna have to do, and I'll record what happens when we get there. Day 2. I'm just joking. No, a couple minutes have gone by, and what I did was I took a pick, I wedged it into the side, I got the edge of the coil to come up, and now I'm going to extract that coil out because I can't use that one. I bunged it up, so I'm going to rip that sucker out and start fresh here. Oh wait, that's not the right tab. Let's use the right tab. here. I might get in there with a magnet, make sure I don't have any pieces in there. Good idea. No, that's not gonna work. I wonder how many squats I do a day, dropping all my tools everywhere. Must be a number of squats I do. It's a number. Okay. It's funny, my boss always likes to remind me of how I said he came in here earlier. He reminded me of how I said adios to him the first day I worked here. Instead of like everyone else, I said, oh, later, goodbye, see you tomorrow. And then I told him adios. But when I exit a room, I'm kind of like Bugs Bunny, you know? I'm like, au revoir, bon voyage, adios, arrivederci. You know, I just pick and choose. And, well, he's Hispanic, so he had to go home and tell his dad. His dad said, he's a racist. So now his dad thinks I'm a racist. Not for real. His dad's probably pretty funny about it, but he says it in jest, I imagine. Because I'm not a racist. I'm a racer. Similar, but different. Okay, so look at that. We've gone through the steps of how to fix something and screw it up and then pull it out and hopefully fix something again. All right, so let's start over with that. What a great lesson this is. I'm so happy for the hardship because I got to show you guys that, you know, shit can go sideways. And that's all right. Take a deep breath, it'll be okay. So easy to say that, but I'm telling you, some days it's hard to breathe. Okay, now I'm gonna see if this other tool I have will break that. There we go. Okay, maybe we'll use that tool from now on. Now, this is the part where I go fishing for that other little piece that we just broke off. Oh, look at that, came right out that time. The little piece that we wanted to break off. Now, the true test yet again. For the second and final time, I hope. How does our bolt go? Do. Oh yeah. And you know what's good about that is it almost consumed all the thread there. But what's more important is I guess you should put the cam cap on that goes in that hole. Right? And let's take that down. That one doesn't want to go down. What's going on here? Oh, that one's still got some aluminum on it from when it stripped out. Let's take that off of there so we don't jam that into the hole. Okay, clean and clear. Nice. All right, and then let's go ahead and see if it'll torque. Cam cap's even. Okay. Oh, yay! I feel like a superhero, you know? All right, so that's how we do it. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of these, hopefully with better success than that one. But like I said, I'm happy that that happened and I could record it, and I was ready to record it because it happens, and we just got to get those coils back out, start fresh, go from there. So awesome. Well, thanks for joining me today. Like I said, my sponsor today is really my work, Kern County Powersports, because I'm doing this on the clock, and I had to do it anyhow. Thought I'd share it with y'all, and won't y'all wish Bryce Cornball and the Kern County Powersports race team, our BPR team that's out at Virginia, wish them luck, and I hope they all have a good, safe race and come home with some trophies. All right, thanks everybody. Take care.